we're going to take the restaurant to the ingredient.
Very simply, a pop-up restaurant is just that. It's a restaurant that pops up. It didn't exist a few minutes ago and it won't be there tomorrow.
What we're doing is not catering.
We're creating a real restaurant, but for one night.
Brad is purely driven by aesthetic.
These things are so tacky, they're awesome. Corey's our chef. He's a genius with food.
Whoop, chef is sloppy.
Anton's the Cliff Clavin of the food industry.
I'm worried about everything.
It's a very inspiring area being in Monterey.
So Elizabeth, tell us, why are we here? Why have you brought us down here? How can we help you?
We would like to see those who have lost their lives remembered.
I love food, the way it looks and smells, the way it feeds the soul, the way it brings people together. That's my buddy Anton. If you're looking for the perfect drink set for your party, he's your man. And this is Brad. The only thing Brad loves more than design is having people love the spaces he creates. We are all hitting the road to find the most unique spaces, the best local ingredients, and throw the most unforgettable one-night restaurant experience ever.
Brad, Corey, and Anton are on the road to California.
The three of us are on the road to do a pop-up restaurant in Monterey.
Do you have any idea where we are?
Not exactly. I'm a little more concerned about Corey's driving.
Seriously, Corey, take it easy.
I'm going 20!
And go 15.
Dude, slow down! We've been buddies for a really long time.
We all have our own restaurants back home. We thought it would be a fantastic opportunity. We were going to take the restaurant to the ingredient.
Very simply, a pop-up restaurant is just that. It's a restaurant that pops up. It didn't exist a few minutes ago and it won't be there tomorrow. It's a really beautiful area.
It is a beautiful area.
Out of our team, I'm the designer. I have to turn whatever space we find into a restaurant.
It's the salad bowl. Everything's around here. I'm the chef of the bunch, so my role within the three is I have to win the entire party over with my cooking. Big on sardines this time of year, white sea bass, rock cod, vegetables, peaches, corn, tomatoes, squash. Artichokes are in season right now. I mean, it's a really exciting area and it's a really exciting time of year to be a chef.
There's an abundance of wine made in Monterey County, almost as much as they make in Napa Valley, which is a much larger area.
Anton's our sommelier.
Bigger picture, he is what a maitre d' would be to a restaurant. He's the one that makes it happen and brings everything together.
I need to be able to pair wine with the food that's going to be served and make it relevant.
It's a great job. Not gonna lie to you.
Monterey is a coastal town known for its connection both to the sea and the bountiful crops that grow in the surrounding valleys. Tourists may come because of the world-famous aquarium, but it's the fresh produce that makes Monterey a center for food and wine lovers everywhere. The amazing food isn't the only reason they selected Monterey for the pop-up. They had a call for help.
We will be meeting up with Elizabeth.
I was born and raised here in Monterey, and I come from a long-time fishing family here.
Elizabeth's family have been fishing the California coast for nearly 100 years. She's on a
You
mission,
must be Elizabeth.
I am.
a mission she hopes a pop-up dining experience can kickstart.
So Elizabeth, tell us, why are we here? Why have you brought us down here? How can we help you?
We are in the process of getting a Lost at Sea memorial built here in Monterey.
How is a party going to help this cause?
It'd be really great to be able to connect the families that have lost loved ones at sea as well as our community leaders and have them come together and just really kind of reinforce the importance that Monterey really needs a Lost at Sea memorial. We want to build this memorial because we would like to see those who have lost their lives remembered. It's important to me because in 2004 I lost my own brother at sea. It's your worst nightmare come to pass. His name was David, but we called him Rowdy. They were last tracked on their tracking device right after 2 o'clock. Their emergency beacon went off about 4:40. So there's a few hours there that nobody really knows what happened. They somehow, we believe he got hit by a ship. And the exciting thing about your party is it's going to be a fun way of celebrating something that can be very sad.
With the loss of her brother still weighing heavily on her, Elizabeth hopes that a successful party will kickstart the process to get the memorial built.
We're not here to help Elizabeth build this monument. We're here to bring people together over food in this restaurant, and I think that can get things started for her.
How many people?
We're hoping you guys can do about 40 people.
I think we could do 40.
So right now what I have to do is I have to find at least 2 ingredients that come from the area that we can integrate into this menu. Given Elizabeth and her fishing family, the whole thing will obviously focus around fish and seafood.
They're going to focus on local produce or local seafood, and you can't go wrong with that.
When are we planning on having this party? How much time do we have?
Friday is my parents' 49th wedding anniversary, so it'd be really nice if it can be done by Friday.
I have to pull a menu together in 4 days, line up a kitchen, line up a team, find the ingredients.
Yeah, I've got really big concerns. We haven't got a place, no equipment, no staff.
You know what we've got? We've got the motivation. Like that story.
It's a great cause. It's a great reason for us to be here. Let's just put it all aside and get it done.
As long as you're not driving, I think we can do this. Yeah.
Done? Okay.
Cheers.
Coming up,
The last place I wanted to find myself was in an artichoke farm.
with fish on the menu, will the second ingredient be as easy to catch? And will Brad ever find the right venue?
We could deck the whole thing to give a floor for service.
Anton, Brad, and Corey have come to Monterey, California to build a pop-up restaurant.
You must be Elizabeth.
Elizabeth needs help raising awareness for a monument she wants built for those fishermen lost at sea.
It's important to me because in 2004, I lost my own brother at sea.
Home to the world-famous Monterey Bay Aquarium and the Seafood Watch program,
These tuna don't look so appetizing now, do they?
it's the perfect place for Corey to learn about which fish to use on his menu and which he shouldn't.
I'm getting eyeballed by a great white right now. See that guy coming?
Do you have any idea what sustainable fish you're going to use for your menu?
I'm meeting with a Seafood Watch ambassador for the aquarium, so I'd rather just get some expert advice on it. So Mary Sue, I just came into town a couple of days ago, and I'm trying to get my head around what I'm going to do with the menu. Not entirely sure what this area has to offer for fish, so
The sardines are my favorite. And
Really?
yes, I love them. They're on the super green list for the Seafood Watch program that Monterey Bay Aquarium has.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, which means they're healthy for you and they're healthy for the planet. So, you know, they're sustainable, they're gonna be around for a long time. There's no fear of depleting the stock. And I love that diners are getting more savvy about what they're putting in their bodies, and they're demanding, you know, that they wanna have a sustainable seafood. There's also gorgeous California sea bass out here that are line caught, and then abalone.
So I think you're right, Mary Sue. I'm gonna take a cue from you, and we're gonna make sardines the star of the show.
I can't wait to see what you do.
We figured the best way to go out and really immerse ourselves into the fish culture here is to go out and do it firsthand.
It would be absolutely ideal if we can land one 40-pound sea bass that will feed everybody.
So seeing the dolphins is a good indicator that they're sea bass.
It is, yes.
Oh, good.
Dolphin are here to get the squid. Apparently so are the white sea bass.
We came here to get the dolphins.
We came here to get the dolphins.
Sorry, tail first?
Tail first.
So go right through the middle of the eyes. Here we go. This one's for pride, fellas.
Tip down, not tip up.
Tip up!
We have caught seaweed instead of sea bass.
Perfect toss.
We caught a bird.
That's the bird.
It's a bird. Oh!
I know.
Oh,
I'm not gonna hurt you. The hook will rust out.
Our first catch.
All right.
Go and wind in the lines. We're gonna make a move. Try
moving?
somewhere a little else.
We're moving.
Let's get a wager.
The two losers gut and scale the fish.
Yeah, there's a couple fish right there.
Two. Oh, he's got a deuce.
Two.
Three for me. And that is another keeper. We've managed to land 5 3/4-pound California rockfish, which I think is actually more embarrassing than not catching anything at all.
There's a strong likelihood Corey's going to be getting his fish from a market instead of the ocean.
With the morning gone and no fish, they have to move on. They need to find the second local ingredient.
Using local ingredients in a pop-up is paramount, and especially given that we're in a setting like this, it would be a shame not to use anything but what's offered by your neighbor farmer. Artichoke capital of the world.
Casterville.
I really want to find local ingredients that we can use that really speak to this area.
That is a big artichoke.
Corey thinks artichokes are the perfect local ingredient. Anton is not so sure.
Artichokes and wine are a terrible combination. They're a notoriously bad fit.
I've never heard of that.
It doesn't matter whether you've heard of it or not. It exists. It's scientific.
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
I'm artichokes.
I'm in, sure.
You just got 2 to 1.
I am a reluctant.
All right.
There you go.
You can do it.
With artichokes on the menu, it's time to hit Pizzini Farms, home to some of the oldest artichoke plants in Monterey County.
Word among the chefs is that you are the artichoke king of California. We need about 100 pieces of the best artichokes you have, so let's talk about harvesting.
Okay, well, you know, it's a lot of hard work.
What separates you from the conventional farmer?
Well, these are perennials, and the other one's the annuals.
They don't reseed every year, so these plants are 15-year-old plants. They produce these beautiful, large, mature artichokes.
I have an expert, my dad, Guido.
You guys want to learn about artichoke cutting?
Sure do.
You want to put a blade to it, you want to cut it right next to this second leaf here. And you got a big field ahead of you here, so we better get going here, right?
Oh, Jesus! What are you doing?
The last place I wanted to find myself was in an artichoke farm. It's gonna be a challenge, but I guess I'm up for it.
I didn't realize that artichoke plants were so similar to wine. 15-year-old plants that rejuvenate the soil over years and years. Each plant only produces about 40 a year, very labor intensive, so it just gives you a new respect for the people who are actually farming them.
Oh, I'm full.
That's the winning load.
There you go. So you think this is going to work for a restaurant?
You know, I think
I have no idea what I'm going to be cooking yet. I do my work at last minute most of the time, so.
I think I definitely have more chokes than you.
I've got 100 pounds solid on my back right now.
With their 2 main ingredients set, the rest of the day is spent looking for a location.
It's got our ceilings.
Way too big. It's 5 times too big. 6.5 feet high. It's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time.
They need to find a place that can be converted to a 5-star restaurant in 3 days.
It's got to be I love the space. It's beautiful, but it's just going to be so much work.
Too much effort.
Finding just the right location for a 40-seat restaurant proves difficult until...
Check out these trees.
I think this would be perfect.
So many great hidden gems in every city.
The old Monterey Pop Festival. That was here in 1967.
First glance, I love it.
This ceiling, look at this. Look at the texture.
No, I love
color.
that.
I mean, my big concerns are obvious. I will need a floor, obviously.
We could deck the whole thing to give a floor for service. So,
strike number 2.
The fighter jet?
The fighter jet.
You think maybe the airport is a bit of an issue?
That's a concern.
With nothing found after a long, frustrating day, Anton, Brad, and Corey regroup knowing they only have 3 days left to find a space and build a restaurant.
We don't have a space.
That's a problem. I have secured staff.
That's good.
Through a local contact.
I have artichokes. I know I have seafood. Well, I'm fine.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever known me to do any advanced preparation whatsoever in my entire life?
Never. Yeah.
I think it's really great that the guys got a bunch of stuff checked off their list. We don't have a space. If I don't find a space tomorrow, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Coming up, running out of time and running out of options.
Plain and simple. Without a space, we're dead in the water.
Really? The space is at least 2 days cleanup before you can start building.
Anton, Brad, and Corey have come to Monterey to build a pop-up restaurant.
Must be Elizabeth.
Elizabeth gave them 4 days to build a restaurant from scratch and throw a party.
Can you have it done by Friday?
With a day already gone and still no location,
It's a waste of time.
the guys are running out of time.
We don't have a space.
They need to find a place, and they need to find it now.
This is Fisherman's Wharf. This is the commercial wharf. From what I understand, it's got a direct connection to Elizabeth's family. So I think it's definitely something we want to go take a close look at.
Really?
I love it.
It's an open hatch to a sea lion petting zoo.
Look, we've got wicked high ceilings. Awesome. It looks like we've got enough square footage for the seat requirement.
The space is at least 2 days cleanup before you even start building.
We can clean. I'm
You know what,
totally
buddy?
comfortable
You might have to
cleaning.
do some scrubbing.
I don't do cleaning.
We've got terrace. What about a big patio?
I like
Some
the
of
terrace. I
it's
love
awesome.
the terrace. I am a 7/8 yes.
What are your issues?
Oh,
The smell.
flies. Build me a sanitary kitchen, get rid of the flies.
That's no problem.
I'm in.
I'll do it.
Yes, then we're done. This is our
Done.
space.
Bradley, this is all just totally junk up here.
No, it's not. It's an old kayak. I'm not sure how we can use it. Here, can you give me a hand? Yeah. Grab that wall.
With the cleanup underway, Elizabeth checks in.
Elizabeth.
You guys like it?
We do love it, actually.
What's going to be the hardest thing for you to transform this into a restaurant?
The smell is going to be a challenge, I think.
She is concerned that turning a commercial fishing wharf into a 5-star dining experience is just going to be too much for the guys.
The next time you come back, it's going to be finished.
It's very raw. This space, I mean, I don't think you can get much rawer.
I've got to start the design from the patio, the face of the building, and start working my way in.
I have to go taste wine. I hate to break it to you. You think the kid can handle it on its own?
No.
Pairing these wines with artichokes is going to be difficult. I know this. I've known this from the beginning.
I would recommend a dry Gewürztraminer.
I was not expecting that, but I'm quite excited to try it.
Okay, nice old vines from Monterey. You get the traditional lychee notes.
It was a dry Gewürztraminer, which was important. Artichokes will tend to make a wine taste a bit sweeter.
So I ditched out on the cleaning to get my kitchen equipment list done.
We're getting ready to sign up people for the watermelon eating contest. We need you to come out now. Go! Sir, stop pushing that child.
So would you like to take a couple bottles to pair up?
We're going to try a little tasting with the boys back at the wharf. So we're going to try artichokes with the wines, see how it works for them, see if they are even capable of understanding what I'm talking about.
We have a winner, ladies and gentlemen, right there, contestant number 3.
Compare the rinds, mine's cleaner.
I'm doing a simple experiment with the boys to illustrate the effects of artichokes on the taste of wine. The first one, what I'm hoping that they discover is that artichokes and wine is a very difficult combination. Artichokes affect the flavor of most liquids and make them appear sweeter than they are. Take a little bit of wine and just see what happens.
Just like you just put a teaspoon of sugar in there.
Yep, just a touch.
Still delicious. It's not a problem to me.
Wine number 2.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Also good.
Corey's palate is certainly more developed than Bradley's. I didn't really get a sense of what Bradley tasted. I imagine it was something like moonflowers and rainbows.
Okay, let's clean this up and get back to work. I think I've got a plan.
The restaurant features round tables for 40,
Center dining, big light feature here.
a bar at one end,
This bar is going to be a beast. It's like 14 feet long, some stools, a high back.
When they walk in, what's the first thing they see?
The biggest impact is going to be you greeting them with a big smile and some cocktails at this giant bar.
and banquette seating along the side with individual pendant lights.
So I can put booth, booth, booth.
Corey's kitchen will be open, allowing patrons to interact with Corey and his crew, drawing them in to the whole dining experience.
I like it. This is a huge turnaround from this morning.
Brad has only 3 days to turn this fish market into one of the best restaurants Monterey has ever seen.
What we're doing is not catering.
We're creating a real restaurant, but for one night. Patio.
Wow. The reason this patio is so important to us is because of how important it is to Elizabeth. That is an amazing view. This is the only place where people are going to be able to mingle. The moment they're inside, they're sitting and they're restricted to who's on their right, who's on their left, and who's across from them. Patio is crucial.
Coming up, as the build gets underway, a phone call brings Brad's plans to a grinding halt.
We got a phone call from the city. They're saying that we can't do a patio.
Brad, Anton, and Corey are in Monterey, California.
It's a really
beautiful
It
area.
is a beautiful area.
And they have come to build a 5-star pop-up restaurant inside a commercial fishing wharf.
The space is at least 2 days cleanup before you even start building.
They now have 2 days to completely transform the space and throw a fantastic party.
We're gonna have to unhook this. Mario's our contractor for the project. Keep the scales awesome. We're keeping this for sure in decor.
I think that you guys are a little bit crazy. It's kind of a lot to do in a short time period, but I think it's going to be fun.
With the contractor for the project on board, the guys have to get the main space cleared out and the framing started.
This is my parents' fish market. This is Royal Seafood. And these are the men and women. They're names of those who have been lost at sea. And what has really motivated my husband and I to try to build this Lost at Sea Memorial here in Monterey is because my brother Rowdy here, he was lost at sea in 2004. And this was his boat, the Relentless. It was just a moment you never forget. I can remember that morning and everything and every step that took place that morning like it was yesterday. And it was, you know, you get the news and you really think, okay, and your brain's thinking they're in a raft somewhere and they're gonna be found. And then as the hours went on, it was like, wow, they're not being found, you know? It's just the reality of the situation and the reality that they may not be found starts to kind of set in.
Her story and her brother's story was really quite moving. It was actually quite tragic.
This is a model of the monument.
Their goal is to bring together the fishing community and the town's VIPs to make Elizabeth's dream of a permanent memorial a reality. Local suppliers have donated a first-class kitchen with all the bells and whistles Corey could want.
Yeah, this is better than the kitchen at my own restaurant.
Except for one thing.
There was no propane dropped off with it, and there were no flex hose dropped off to connect it to the equipment, so tomorrow I need to be cooking all day. I mean, I need to.
Brad, meanwhile, has to deal with his own show-stopping problem.
Hello. Why would we be asking permission? We got a phone call from the city that wasn't going to approve us putting anything outside of the building. They're saying that we can't do a patio. They're saying it's a city thing. Our crew was immediately told that we were not allowed to build outside. Frank, you know what? Just ignore the camera right now. We got to keep building so that we're ready on time, okay?
The patio was the area designed to let patrons mingle and discuss the upcoming monument.
But I mean, if you bring them down here and you just illustrate, like, listen, I'm taking these, 2-ton boxes and I'm sticking 8-foot trees in them. They're gonna line this entire patio. There's absolutely, and we're gonna block this end off. There's absolutely no way for anybody to go over the edge. This is basically an enclosed space.
I'm in the central region of Monterey County. Next stop on the wine train is Carmel Road. I met up with Gillian, who brought me through a little tasting. My challenge is that I'm using artichokes. So I need to find the right wine for this evening. An artichoke is nothing short of a wine assassin. It is the worst possible ingredient to pair with wine.
The first wine we're gonna try is the Carmel Road Riesling. Riesling's a really good variety for Monterey. All that wind, all that fog you've been experiencing, the rocky soils on either side of the valley.
It's actually very tasty, but you see how it affects the flavor. That wine really brings out sweetness.
Right.
And that's what I'm really trying to avoid.
You know, it's kind of hard to talk about Monterey without talking about Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir being a real darling. All right.
I actually liked it. It's terrible. That's a terrible combination.
Did it work?
Yeah, it tasted. The Pinot Noir was an absolute disaster in spite of the Pinot Noir being quite lovely and very fresh and elegant. It's important to remind yourself of the so-called obvious mistakes.
It tastes like sucking on a nickel.
It was just a very bad example of what happens. Actually, it was a very good example of what happens when you mix the wrong wine with artichoke.
So this is the Pinot Gris. A lot of fruit. This is a bone dry example though, so no sweetness. So let's see how that flies.
I actually really like that. It was the Pinot Gris that I think worked the best. It still stayed in the category of dry when the artichokes were introduced. I think the undisputed winner is the Pinot Gris.
Ta-da!
Corey needs to create his menu, and there's no better place for inspiration than the local farmers market.
Whenever I sit down to write a menu, the first thing that I do, I'll actually physically go to the market, surround myself with all of the ingredients. So right from the start, walking by the stand, the first thing that jumps out at you are these vibrant peppers. What I'm thinking right now, white sea bass right from the wharf and some preparation with fish tacos. So ideally, I want a salsa that's about a medium to hot spice. So I'm gonna round out these poblanos, which are about a 5 out of 10 on the spice scale. Maybe a couple of jalapenos in with them. I couldn't help but notice this immensely sweet basil aroma as I was over there purchasing the peppers. It literally is perfuming the entire stand. Basil is probably the most versatile of all the soft herbs. I mean, you can really find a preparation in any area of the kitchen, including dessert. This seems to be the tomato center of the market. I mean, I'm looking at probably 30 different varieties. You know, a sardine escabeche with some sort of dehydrated tomato vinaigrette, a roasted tomato vinaigrette, packed with that basil that I bought, some of the chili peppers. I mean, this may look like a deformed tomato to you, but to me, this is, the perfect representation of what a tomato should be. I mean, this is just gorgeous and bursting with flavor, and it has so much character to it. The menu is slowly starting to come together in my head. We had the artichokes, the tomatoes, the basil, the garlic. These two green guys, I've never seen a green egg.
The green eggs are Ericanas, and that's all they lay is green eggs.
The quality of the egg, I mean, you can definitely tell the difference. But the flavor of the egg, do you find any difference at all within the difference?
Yes,
You do?
it's much more flavorful.
I'm gonna pair these eggs with the artichokes. I'll probably slow bake them, onions, garlic,
Oh,
tomatoes.
sounds good. Are you gonna cook
soft,
at our house?
Soft cook. I will cook at your
My
house,
husband? Okay,
You mind?
Yeah.
I'll take one of the yolks, I'll drop it in the middle of my artichoke, I'll finish the baking the last 10 minutes, shave a little Reggiano over it, and we're left with this artichoke with this really creamy yolk on top. I think it'll be the perfect dish to go with the fish.
Meanwhile, Brad is on the hunt for the tables and chairs he needs for tomorrow night's party.
These things are so tacky, they're awesome. Great color on the seat, good weather and patina on the wood itself, fully equipped with gum.
We got 40 of the steakhouse chairs coming up right there. $10 a chair. I got 10 right there. I got 10, but I got 15, got 15. 15 right there.
I've got to stick around $40 a chair.
35 right here. 40 right there. 40 go 45 now. 50, 55 now. I got 50, go 55. 55. Sold. 543.
I went over budget a little bit, but I think we got the right thing.
With 36 hours left, the build inside is going well.
The guys have framed up the parameters of the restaurant. They're paneling the walls, getting ready for paint. 1 wall up, 2 to go.
But there's no word yet on the patio.
Hey Sam, it's Gino. Just checking on that patio thing here for the restaurant. If you could, please let me know. Thanks.
There's no option. This patio has to happen. This is where everyone's going to meet and greet. They're going to have a cocktail. They're going to then walk in for the reveal. This is going to happen.
I'm trying to repurpose the kayak that we found. I think I've got an idea that'll work. It's a beautiful little piece. What we're going to do is turn it into a chandelier, a main feature piece over the bar. All right, fourth and final wall, the bar.
The place now smells like paint rather than dead squid. This is as far as we can go without having gas hooked up.
Coming up,
We just need to get the oven hooked up ASAP.
even without gas, things still heat up.
We're about 6 hours late in the game today already. It's just a really frustrating mess.